So without further ado, I am going to screen share and we are going to introduce our guests today. So here we are. First up, we have for London Yellow. For those of you who are on London Yellow, we are going to be joined by Aaron Akugbo. Do you want to introduce yourself, Aaron, and talk to us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Hi everyone. I'm Aaron. I'm a 25-year-old trumpeter living in London, but originally from Edinburgh in Scotland. Literally just came down from, oh, there's a Scottish flag. I'm also half Nigerian as well. And as I say, been living down in London now for the past eight or so years, which means that whenever I do go home, everyone thinks that I've turned English now, since my accent is basically completely gone. But yeah, started the trumpet in reality like way too young. Started the trumpet when I was like 5, and like 3, 4 years later, auditioned for this beautiful yet absolutely minuscule school that is St Mary's Music School. And yeah, I started there in year 5 and stayed there up until my last years of high school. And it was at that point that I moved down to London to study at the Royal Academy of Music. Which there it is. Oh, see, it's so smooth and perfect. This, I went to the Royal Academy, and that was sort of after some years of doing the National Youth Orchestra of Great Britain, and before that, I did stuff with Youth Orchestra of Scotland and the Children's Orchestra of Scotland. What feels like forever and ever ago. But one of the first things I did when I moved down to London was play with the Chineke Orchestra. It's Europe's first Black and minority ethnic orchestra. And yeah, I've been playing there. Basically, it was, I think I moved down to London, and then like 3 days later was like thrown into a rehearsal to do this, and it was like my first concert at the Royal Festival Hall and first professional CD recording and all this stuff. Here I am sporting a very blonde fro back in 2020, which was like genuinely a, like, in lockdown where everyone like either shaved their heads or they like dyed their hair color. And I'd said to myself that I would do it because it's the only time I'm ever going to do it in my life. Thinking that lockdown was going to last longer than it did. And then suddenly it was like, hey, Aaron, do you want to play Haydn Trumpet Concerto? And my biggest concern was like, oh, what do I do with my hair? But I kept it. That was back in 2020 to an audience of no one, before then doing it this summer at the BBC Proms to a bit more than no people. But yeah, it's been a sort of a mix of stuff, sort of playing an orchestra, doing the solo thing. I also like playing a brass quintet, which again has been together basically the whole time I've been down in London as well. So yeah, that's sort of a brief introduction to me.
Thank you, Aaron. That's brilliant. Oh yes, and you played at the Lucerne Festival, not to
Oh yeah, I
forget.
did. Yeah, I did that as well.
For
As we
those
were
of you
saying
who don't
before.
know, the Lucerne Festival is one of the most prestigious classical music festivals that there is in Switzerland every summer. And this was a recital that you did there.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, a recital a year ago, and then it's where, for like the year before that as well, I was there with my brass quintet, and then also this summer just gone as well, I did a concerto there as well. So it's nice, but I think I've probably finished it now. They're never going to ask me back, you know.
And you've just been working with the National Youth Orchestra of Scotland as well.
Yes. Which I was saying before all of you joined this call, that this video was like recorded very quickly after I just finished a concert, and it was a bit like scramble brain. And they were asking me loads of questions that I hadn't thought of the answers to. Unlike today, I'm very prepared for today. Um, So yeah, if you do see that video and you see that, I've got like my awkward like hands in my sleeves, it's because I don't know what I'm talking about. But they edited it kind of nicely, I think.
Good, great. I think it's
But yeah,
fine. Great. Well, thank you. We can't wait to have you with us at London Yellow. And Aaron has been
absolutely.
with us before, actually, in on London projects a couple of years ago. So be fantastic to welcome him back. So moving on to NCO Projects Midlands with a massive drum roll, we have joining us in the Midlands, we have Nikolaj, who is a bassoonist, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi everyone. I've got to start with saying, Aaron, that was so smooth. That's a lot to live up to now. Can't promise anything.
Not at all.
Hi everyone. I'm Nikolaj, and I live in Birmingham. I play first bassoon in the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra, where I've been for 5 years. If you are thinking, what is that accent? It's not a Brummy accent, no. It's a Danish accent. So I'm originally from Denmark. I'm actually from Copenhagen, that you can see on the screen there, in the beautiful summer, which lasts a little bit like in the UK, 2 to 3 hours if you're lucky. So that's where I'm from originally.
What do you think the differences are in growing up somewhere like Copenhagen to growing up somewhere like Birmingham, would you say?
I think, it's somehow everything is different and nothing is different. I mean, you meet like the people you end up interacting with. They're always in both places. They're just as lovely people, and you just get to hang out with all these amazing people. And I think, jumping a little bit ahead, it's always been the thing I enjoyed the most with playing an orchestra and making music with generally, is just that you meet all these awesome people. And that's something I've been lucky to do both in Copenhagen and in Birmingham and the rest of the UK. So I think just there you have my dogs as well. So that's a little that's my parents' 2 Labradors that I'm always very happy to go home and
What are they called?
Well, it's a bit silly because they're both called Luna. One was called Luna already, and then they got another one, and she was Luna. They were like, we're just gonna stay with it. But it's very good because you call Luna and you get 2 for 1, so that's brilliant.
Oh,
That's brilliant. And tell us about this gentleman.
So that's Ole, and he is, so after I did my undergrad in Copenhagen, I moved to Germany, to Mannheim, to study with that gray-haired fella. He has an amazing class in Germany where I learned a lot, and I was really fortunate to have some really not only great players but really great teachers in my life that really kind of tailored their teaching to each individual students, and kind of just gave me a lot of confidence in, like, you need to do what you do, and don't be a copy of anyone, and just do that, and then also do your scales. So it was a very good combination of both.
Great. And now you're in the CBSO.
I am, yeah. So that's me there, hiding away in my little screen. I don't know. This is with our chief conductor, Kazuki Yamada, who's absolutely great. And Katha, we actually play together in CBSO.
We do, yeah. So half of my life is at NCO, half of my life is in this orchestra with Nikolaj. So
are you in the picture here?
Yes, you can see me just to the left of his elbow. But
oh yeah. Looking down.
I should have done another arrow, but I'm so modest. I wouldn't point myself out.
Now, so we get to play. So we play in the Symphony Hall in Birmingham, which is an amazing hall that I can only recommend coming and have a listen.
Our main orchestra in the summer is playing in Symphony Hall, actually on the 18th of August. So if anybody hasn't been and wants to come and hear NCO Main play Shostakovich 5 in Symphony Hall, it's an amazing venue. And tell us about your team Bassoon in CBSO, because it being in a woodwind section is very much about the team. It's about the team of the woodwind, but it's also about the team of the bassoons themselves. And we've had a gap for a long time, and we've finally filled, haven't we?
Absolutely. So just 1 month ago, we appointed Tony, who's there on the right, and yeah, we've been looking for quite a while to find a second bassoon, and we found Tony, and he just. It was so funny because everyone kept asking, kind of, when we had the process going, we had so many people in and amazing players and everything, and sometimes we had to say, oh, it was not really this person or this person, and then sometimes I got asked, well, what are you looking for? And I was really trying to find out what am I looking for, and what's the thing. And then Tony came, and I was like, oh, I don't have to put any words to it, because that's just it. Like, everything musically just works together, and it just makes it so much fun to play and so easy. So it's just like, yeah, it really just fits so well. It's and you also see Margaret, who's our contrabassoonist, and she's a big inspiration to me. She had been in the job for many years when I came, and she appointed me, and she's always been such an incredible support. And she's just, yeah, she, even though I'm first bassoon, we really, in our section, we don't see any kind of hierarchy. It's just everyone has an equal voice, and everyone needs to feel like they have something to contribute with. And yeah, it's just a really, really wonderful thing to be part of that team. So again, kind of going on the road of saying that meeting incredible people in the world of music happened again when I joined CBSO, and Margaret and Tony are definitely two of them, and you, Kath.
Thank you. So moving on to Projects North. In Projects North, we have Jess Gillam joining us, and Jess can't be here today in the webinar because they're filming BBC Young Musician of the Year right at the moment, and she is introducing it. So she is busy filming that. But she made a little, we were playing with her a few months ago, and I made this little video with her to share with you today. So I hope this works. Hi, so we're here in Sheffield City Hall, and I'm here with Jess Gillam, who's going to be our special guest on Projects in Bolton. Jess, can you tell us a little bit about what you're looking forward to about Projects?
Yeah, I can't wait to meet everyone in Bolton, and I think one of the best things about these days is you get to meet lots of other young musicians. I'm really looking forward to playing with everyone and hearing the sound that we make together. I think it's going to be massive.
Great, fantastic. And what about the music? We're going to play Sophisticated Lady. What do you think of that piece?
I love that tune. I remember I heard the baritone saxophone version, and I was convinced I could make my alto saxophone go that low, but you can't. The tube's not big enough. But if you can listen to the recording beforehand of the old Duke Ellington band playing it, you really get a sense of the kind of sound that they make and the vibrato that they use. It's such a great tune. I think we'll have great fun playing it.
Great, fantastic. And will you be able to do a bit of question and answer if the kids want to ask you any questions?
Definitely. Prepare all your questions. I'll answer anything and everything. Any questions you have about a life in music, playing music, anything you want to ask, be thinking of them in advance and we'll do them on the day.
Great, fantastic. Thank you. Thanks so much. Just
thank you. So
there's Jess, who will be joining us, and drum roll for London Purple. We are going to be working with Jonny Abraham, new special guest to us at NCO. Tell us a little bit about you, Jonny.
Oh, that's me. Hello, everyone. I'm Jonny. That's me when I was a lot younger, just before I joined South Bank Sinfonia, which is a graduate orchestra that I joined after being at Guildhall. So yeah, that's a younger me. Yeah, and there we go, some more slides. BYMT is where I started to get involved with bands and orchestras. I'm not sure if anyone knows about BYMT.
Amazing music hub, isn't it? The Bromley Youth Music Trust, isn't it?
Yeah. I didn't really know how lucky I was at the time, but it's yeah, I was there 5 nights a week and 1 morning a week. So I was yeah, my mum and dad had a lot of driving to do, but it was amazing. Yeah, it was where I kind of, you know, met some of my best mates still now, and played loads of different types of music, had a great time, and it kind of set me up for going to Guildhall, which I joined as an undergraduate and stayed and did a postgraduate there. Yep, and then I went to do a year with South Bank Sinfonia. So yeah, it was a lot of kind of what seems like about 15 years of musical education before kind of getting out into the world of working. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Oh, and that's my brass quintet, Riverside Brass Quintet. Now the rest of those 4 people, they were all at the Royal College of Music. But the other trumpet player, it was my best mate from home, Toby Street. So we kind of put this group together, and I spent a load of time catching the Circle line from Barbican to South Kensington to go and rehearse at the Royal College of Music, and kind of snuck myself in and rehearse with them over there. I'm not sure if it's really allowed, but there we go.
Well,
That's
brass
what we did.
quintets are amazing things, aren't they? I know you've probably got one too, Erin, that they're so versatile, aren't they? And there's so much variety of music that you can play as a brass quintet. I always think it's just an amazing ensemble, isn't it? Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Erin?
Sure. I mean, certainly, yeah, as you say, like the spectrum of like what you can play, it's where we spend probably about half our time playing arrangements of stuff. And of course, you can arrange from any sort of period of time in music. So when it comes to, our quintet, if we do a recital that, we do all the Baroque stuff of, Bach and Vivaldi, but then, we can end a concert with brain's going blank, like any sort of like jazzy stuff, or Latin American music, or this sort of, there's such a wide range of stuff out there.
Yeah, brilliant. And I guess that leads quite nicely onto you, Jonny, because you do a lot of arranging, don't you, and writing of music. You're a very versatile musician, doesn't only play the trumpet. Tell us a little bit more about what else you do.
Yeah, so when I was growing up, I was kind of equally as enthusiastic about rock bands, and yeah, it's just kind of like pop rock music. So I played the bass guitar when I was about 12 or 13, and kind of carried on from there, and have always been in bands when I was at school and college, and have written my own music and released that. But I'm now a part of, well, almost 10 years ago, I joined a band called Public Service Broadcasting, we are a band who make like original instrumental music that's kind of accompanied by chopped up films, kind of library footage and kind of new fan footage. So this is a show. This was our late night prom with the multi-story orchestra a few years ago, and we played our record, The Race for Space, in full with the multi-story orchestra. And kind of out of nowhere, they asked me to arrange it for the orchestra and for our band. So it was really exciting. It was a kind of smaller symphony orchestra, kind of single winds and stuff. So I guess more like a chamber orchestra, but with kind of lots of percussion and brass, winds, strings. And we also had a choir behind us, because the opening track on that record is JFK's famous speech backed by a choir. Wow. And yes, so that was our kind of first visit to the proms with PSB.
Amazing.
And yeah, and then we went on to do a commission with the BBC Symphony Orchestra 2 years ago, and Jules Buckley, the conductor on this show and conducts the BBC Symphony Orchestra, he was also a trumpet player at Guildhall, but a little while before me, and was MDing, directing the first show I ever did at Guildhall. So it was an interesting kind of circle of life moment. But yeah, this was amazing for me, because this was the first time I got to orchestrate and arrange for like a full size symphony orchestra, and it was definitely one of the best things I've ever been involved with. I loved it.
Amazing.
Right.
So that's really, I think, a really valuable thing to think about, that actually music, you can come at music from so many different angles, can't you? It's from the social angle, from the individual instrument angle, from the writing, from the creating a vision like those shows, that actually, wherever you want to go with music, there are so many doors that can take you in so many different directions. I imagine that's been your experience, Johnny. It's just like push on this door, that door, where's it going to go next? And I guess you don't really
Yeah,
ever quite know that.
absolutely. And I think it's really important to remember that there's no right or wrong way as to how you go about that. And in a world where there's lots of choice, sometimes it's really exciting to dip your toe into different things and to explore lots of things at the same time, but also it's just as valid to be very passionate and driven to do one thing in particular. It's just like it's a big wide range of approaches, and there's no right or wrong way.
Exactly. So these are our guest artists. Thank you so much, guys. Let's just look at the two pieces that you're going to be playing with us, because you're all playing the same pieces. So we did mention already Sophisticated Lady. What's that going to sound like on the bassoon, Nikolaj? What do you reckon?
Well, I'm not sure it's ever been played on the bassoon before, so it'll certainly be something different, and it's going to be very new to me as well to do a piece like this on the bassoon. I'm certainly looking forward to it. I think the bassoon is quite a cool instrument because it has really beautiful low range, but a very, very expressive tenor range, almost like the saxophone, but like with a slightly maybe darker sound. So it's gonna be fun to kind of explore. I think for me it's important, like with these pieces and with everyone together, that we can kind of explore which sound we're gonna make all together. So I will of course come with my idea of how it's gonna sound, but I'm gonna be definitely get very inspired in the moment and kind of find out how it will all kind of come together with you guys offering what you have, and then with me and the conductor and everyone together. So I can't say how it's going to sound, but I'm looking much forward to it.
Amazing. Have you seen, Nikolaj, our under 13s bassoons that are going a bit viral on the socials at the moment? Have you
It's
seen them?
amazing. Yeah. I commented on it on Facebook. It was so cool.
I don't know if the others have seen it, but they've done a Mission Impossible. Have a look at it when we put it.
Yes, no, yeah, I have seen that. I have seen that. Yeah,
I was just
I've not
gutted
seen it.
that I
I've got to
wasn't
see it.
there.
Definitely worth seeing. It's super cute. And the other piece that we're playing is A Friend Like Me from Aladdin, the epic song. I guess Robin Williams made it very famous in the first instance, in the first iteration of Aladdin. That is so brilliant. Talk to us, Erin, about A Friend Like Me.
So you asking that question like that made it feel like I was to give, like, when I was younger, I always had to memorize like my introduction to my like piano recitals. I'd be like, so written in 1986 or what, you know. No, Friend Like Me, I don't know, like when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. Because in reality, I feel like I playing the trumpet, I always like try and have a good time and it be fun. And a lot of the time it's turning what is like really serious music into something that, yeah, that is like fun and enjoyable, take it off the page a bit more and it not seem like such a chore. Whereas I think this already from the start is already like just a great song and is fun, that, I feel like we're all just gonna have like a good time with it.
I think there's a
I
lovely
think what else?
lovely message behind that song as well, isn't there? That it's, in music, as you've all said, it's all about friendships, isn't it? And amazing people that you meet, and imagine having an amazing friend like a genie. So
Very
great.
true.
We have done our intros, and we can now move on. I'll quickly see what questions we've got. So, what instrument does Jonny play? Did we miss that?
I play the trumpet. It's permanently got a practice mute in at the moment because I'm in a very small room and the neighbours are very close. So yeah, it's kind of getting ready to be unleashed again when I'm home. But yeah, trumpet.
Trumpet. Okay, great.
Um,
And how amazing is it to play at the BBC proms? I think you've all played at the proms, so why don't you go first, Nikolaj? What do you love about the proms?
I don't get to stand in front of the orchestras like you guys. It's so cool you get to do that. I get to sit in the orchestra, but it's a really, really amazing experience. I did my first prom with the European Union Youth Orchestra in 2014. So it's 10 years ago. And we do one every year with CBSO, and I get to do them with like different orchestras sitting there. And I mean, for me, the fantastic thing about the proms, there are two things about it. But first of all, thinking of all the people who have stood on that stage and performed, like not only musicians, but like sports stars and pop stars and everyone. And that's just so amazing to think about. And then combining that with just the fantastic audience. When you walk on stage there, you feel like, I think it's the only classical, I don't know if you guys agree with this, I feel like the only classical scene where I walk on and I feel like a rock star.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like people are standing up and woo, and it's absolutely fantastic. But I mean, how is it to perform there as a soloist? Nerve-wracking.
It was it took a lot of like mental training. I definitely haven't like prepared for a concert. Like I did the whole month before, I did nothing. I like just practiced and like went home and like chilled and yeah, just started like taking things easy. But I guess it's where I was like really fortunate from being an NYO that the first time I played at the proms would have been also the same year, I think, actually in 2014. That would have been my first NYO summer course. And but I think it's that thing of like, it was made easier perhaps of you know, having been there before, and I can imagine what it's going to be like. The biggest thing is like the cameras, especially the one that runs along in front of the stage, is probably the most off-putting thing ever. And the whole time in the rehearsals, I kept being told, stop looking into the camera, because it would start moving and then the eyes start following it. And then obviously that doesn't look very good if I'm just like staring the whole time whilst trying to play. But no, it was great fun. I loved it.
She's an incredible audience. Here we are. We have got a poll, our first poll. Pair the food with the guest. So, pizza, pasta, and tiramisu. Is that Aaron's favourite, Jonny's, or Nikolaj's? Macaroni cheese, same, or chicken wings, same. Okay, so get voting.
Does it work if we try? No, it doesn't. That's so upsetting. I guess we'll find out, won't we? It's okay.
We'll find out in a minute.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you were doing like mental preparation for this concert. I mean, apart from, you said you were like like putting yourself in the situation because you've been there before. Did you do any other kind of mental preparations towards a concert like that?
I had really good intentions of doing loads of stuff. I wanted to like I guess actually it wasn't so much mental. I think I wanted to try like performing or doing things that were very much out of my comfort zone, to then sort of remind myself that, you know, going on stage and playing the trumpet, I've done that forever. Just because it's in this place, that's the only thing that makes it scary. So it was trying to like remind it of being normal. I was going to go on like a hike and like perform off a mountain or whatever, and then I was going to like see an acting coach, and I was going to like, there were so many things that I was going to do, which in very typical Aaron fashion, I was super lazy and didn't bother. But definitely the like visualization was by far the most effective thing for me. As I say, made really easy from like being there before. But I think generally the same with like auditions or, you know, exams, that if you're able to imagine what it's going to be like when you do the thing, when you walk into that space, it perhaps doesn't feel as foreign and distant as perhaps it should do, I think.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Aaron. The results are in. So,
Oh.
our friends out there think that Nikolaj likes pizza, pasta, and tiramisu more than the others. Is that right, Nikolaj?
That is absolutely correct. And I have a tiramisu in my fridge at the moment waiting for me.
Oh,
Hooray.
jealous.
But they also think you like macaroni cheese more
You
than
know what?
anything.
They're not wrong, because I do, but it was not my answer.
But in the second place is Jonny with the tiramisu. Is that right, Jonny? I'm sorry, with the macaroni cheese. Getting muddled.
Yeah. Macaroni cheese is it's a big time guilty pleasure. Not that you should have guilty pleasures. Enjoy whatever food you want, but I don't think there's much health or nutritional benefit to mac and cheese, but it's delicious. So
Yeah.
there you go.
It's good. It's carbs. It's good fuel, surely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
maybe
this
it's not
thing,
for a concert.
Quite convincingly think that Aaron likes chicken wings more than anybody else. Are they right?
I mean, yeah, no, that's definitely right. I mean, even like last night, I was trying to be good with like a healthy-ish dinner, and then it got to like 9:30, and I was like, I'm hungry again. I'm gonna order chicken. It's too convenient. Moving down to London, I think that was the worst thing ever for me. In Edinburgh, you don't get chicken shops in Edinburgh in the same way you do in London. That's not a thing. It's like it's literally on the corner. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, another one's in. Who's afraid of what? Who's afraid of snakes? Who's afraid of jellyfish? And who's afraid of spiders? And while they're answering that, I'll ask you another question. Quite an interesting question has come from one of our kids who has ADHD and dyslexia, and he wanted to ask whether any of you have had any challenges in your learning along those lines, or any other lines, and have you ever found practicing difficult, and what coping mechanisms have you had? Maybe Jonny, would you be able to speak to that?
Yeah, of course. That's really interesting question. I don't have a kind of diagnosed neurodiversity or anything like that, but I've kind of had quite acute anxiety sometimes. So worrying about, whether it's about performance or being ready for something. And so one of the things that I kind of try and keep a kind of mindful of is it's really simple, but it's breathing, and it's breathing not just when I'm practicing or when I'm performing, but when I'm just kind of going about my daily life. So just having some really simple exercises to just like kind of almost, people say like reconnecting or grounding yourself is a really useful way. I mean, obviously it's really important that people have the right support and the right kind of professional guidance, but I think starting off just with some very simple, slow inhaling and then slow exhaling, and just trying to kind of regulate your breath. So it's funny how sometimes with practice and performance we can think go go go, and that's how I'm going to kind of get something done, especially with practice. And we spoke about metronomes earlier, but we think, oh, I don't worry about the metronome, I'll just go 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 and I'll get this done. But actually sometimes I've realized that slowing down and giving yourself breaks within your practice is a really nice way of kind of just being a bit more effective, and maybe not just getting so, sometimes I can just get like hyped up if I'm too stressed out. So yeah.
Very good. Thank you so much. That's really valuable advice. So the poll is in. I'm going to share the results. So who's afraid of what? They pretty convincingly think that you're afraid of snakes, Nikolaj.
And they are very, very right. Even if I open my phone and there's a picture of a snake, I'll like go like ah yeah. So I have a little bit of a phobia for them. So don't get them anywhere near me, please.
There won't be any at NCO, don't worry. But it looks like that they think quite convincingly, Aaron, that you're afraid of both jellyfish and spiders.
That's fair enough. To be honest, I don't really mind jellyfish. I mean, there always used to be loads of them on the beach in Scotland. So, but spiders, absolutely yes. Which was not I don't really have any phobias of anything. But then just one day, I was like, it would have been like this. I was on like a video call with someone. I was just sat on my bed. I had a really tall like headboard behind me. And as I was talking, I just suddenly saw this thing moving up the wall. And I remember just like freezing, turning around, and I've never screamed so much in my life. My flatmates thought I was legitimately dying. And ever since then, that was maybe about 6 years ago, I cannot stand them. So
jellyfish must be yours, Jonny.
It is, and it's funny because it's actually a really recent thing. 2 days ago, I went for a swim in the sea and I got stung by a jellyfish.
was it bad?
No, it wasn't. It was a tiny little. It was this kind of little brown thing floating in the water, and I thought it might be a sea urchin because I first thought it was a bit spiky, but then it kind of got me, and then I just had a big rash on my wrist. But it's now gone, and it's fine. But it's made me a bit wary to get back into the sea. But got to face those fears and just jump
Absolutely.
back
in. Mm-hmm.
Okay, got another question. They're asking, I'm not sure whether this is polite or not, how old are you all?
I'm 35.
And I'm 30.
And I'm 25. That's very nice.
There's a nice symmetry there. I'm not going to tell you how.
That's crazy though. I honestly would have not thought that you two were as old as you are. I'm not trying to like suck up or anything. That was a genuine like.
That's very kind.
Y'all are looking very good.
Thank you. This is actually a mask, so
filters. Yeah, good.
Yeah. And Mike wants to know: have you ever played together, the three of you?
Don't think we have.
I don't think so.
Yet, that is.
Yeah.
Not yet.
That's a great word.
It's hard because sometimes orchestras can be so big that you don't get to meet everyone. Yeah. But especially with me and Aaron playing the same instrument, I think there would be something wrong if we'd not met and played in the same band. So I
was going to say that would really freak me out if I was feeling like, nope, never seen this man in my life. And you're like, no, we like. But I think like what Nikolaj was saying earlier, we will all have like crossed over somehow, whether it's the same venue or the same orchestra or this sort of thing. Like it happens really easily. It's a tiny world, the music world.
Okay, another question or two questions I'll put together. How long do you practice for, Aaron, and do you practice every day?
Just me. Oh God. I very much used to be a person that I had to practice every day because I thought my lips didn't cope very well with days off. I've recently learned that that isn't necessarily the best thing for my brain, and that my brain needs a break sometimes. And so I do. Certainly, I try to plan sort of like intentional days off. Like for example, I did a concert on Saturday up with National Youth Orchestra Scotland, and I wasn't doing anything the next day. I just stayed at home, had a nice time with my family, and I was like, I don't need to practice. But I've learned that days off are good. The days that I do practice, I don't know. I try to at least do an hour, but again, that's just for me of, do all my basics, like, the scales and the warm-up exercises and all that kind of stuff, just to check that things are working. But I definitely practice in little chunks. Today, I've not practiced for longer than half an hour each time, and I've maybe done that 3 or 4 times now, and I maybe do another one after this. Maybe, probably not, but try to.
Great,
Always in
thank
small
you.
chunks for me. Yeah.
Okay, there's another poll about you, Erin.
Sorry.
Which sports do you like better? Which is your favorite sports? He likes triathlon, Gaelic football, cold water swimming, curling, or tug of war. He's quite partial.
I love that. Erin is sporty. I kind of like want to take a photo of that because I think that's hilarious.
Okay, so they're voting on all of that. And do you play multiple instruments? Has come through from Bailey. I think that's probably one for Jonny for sure.
Yes, I do. I picked up my trumpet earlier, but there's a bass guitar here, and there's a electric guitar behind me because I love to write music as well. So I play in this band, and within the band I play bass, flugelhorn, a bit of trumpet, some keys. I shake things. I can't call myself a percussionist, but I shake things or hit things. So yeah, I kind of it's a difficult one because it's hard not to sound like boastful, but it's this multi-instrumentalist, I suppose, is an easy way of saying it sometimes. And I think because I love to write music and arrange music, it kind of comes from a place of wanting to understand how different things work. So whether that's when I'm orchestrating, like understanding that if I'm writing a part for a flautist, for example, that it's important that I know even just a bit about the flute, or I can speak to a friend who's a flautist, and so you can get the best out of those players and allow them to kind of have fun and not to have to struggle through something which is way too low or way too high. So yeah, that's kind of always been it for me. It's just like I just get quite kind of nerdy about different instruments and different types of music, and I want to try and like understand it and write things, and yeah, so that's why I do the different things.
Great, thank you, Jonny. So the answers are in, and people think that your favourite sport is Gaelic football, Erin, followed by tug of war, followed by curling, followed by cold water swimming and triathlon.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not. I'm literally going to take a photo because I think that's so funny. It's definitely not Gaelic football. I don't think I've ever seen that in my life. I do know vaguely. I have friends that do it, but I've no idea what. I wouldn't know how it works. Saying that I'm sporty is definitely a push. I try to move my body occasionally. But no, I got really into cold water swimming. My flatmate does it a lot. We have a pool like 15-20 minutes away from my flat in London. And yeah, but I haven't been in a while. I did go in February when it was like 8 degrees outside. I did force myself to do the proper, like, the water's 4 degrees, and just try and do it. But generally I go about now when it starts getting sunny again.
Oh, that sounds tough. Amazing. Thank you so much. So it's terrible. We're running out of time and we're just having so much fun, and I could carry on and carry on, but we need to finish with we're going to do the webinar selfie in a minute, everybody. So if you want to get ready with a phone or with a selfie phone for the kids watching, and take a picture of yourself with us, then send it in. We'll put it on the gallery. But before we do that, I just need to ask them, what advice would you give your 12-year-old self? Or what did you wish you knew when you were 12? Can I start with you, Nikolaj?
Yeah, I don't really have a fancy way of saying it. I guess the closest, no one spoke English to me when I was 12. So I could say it in Danish, but you wouldn't really get that. Basically, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. And therefore, remember the way you make music now, and the fun you're having with it. Really, really keep that, because I don't know if you guys can relate, but I hit a point in my early 20s where I just started to focus so much on the basics and so much on the sound and so much on everything but the music. And I really had I that was what I talked about before with my teacher, that he was so amazing at reminding me, like, you need to play like 16-year-old Nikolaj or 12-year-old Nikolaj. You need to make that kind of music with the new tools that you have been given. With you're able to do more, but don't take away the joy.
Great, thank you. Brilliant advice. Aaron?
Oh, mine was going to be really similar. I think, definitely for me, I needed to be told that you don't need to try and fit into the box all the time. There's always like an expectation of acting or being a certain way. And yeah, a lot of the time I do not fit into those boxes. So it's kind of like, stick by that and like, do your own thing. And yeah, that's completely non-musical. I guess in like the musical sense, I don't know, like have fun when you're practicing a bit more, as Nikolaj was saying, it's literally the same thing. It's just like, it doesn't always need to be scales every single day. Like going back and playing something from your childhood, I do that like all the time. Today I don't really have very much inspiration to practice. It's all I've done so far, but I can like know that it's good for me somehow.
Great, brilliant, thank you. And Jonny?
I think one of the main ones I'd say is to listen to, go and watch, and kind of be open to not just every type of music, but like any kind of art or perspective in the world. Kind of if you have an open mind about things and just give things a chance in terms of like what you want to go and watch, what bands you like to watch, or composers you like to listen to, then you'll be surprised as to what kind of contributes to making you. I think a big part of where I am now is luckily having the kind of support to just explore all of the different types of music that I wanted to explore, and to have had friends and teachers who will encourage that and will kind of like do that with me, whether it's going to an art gallery with like a mate or going to a gig with a friend or anything. Just being open to all the different things. And there's no such thing as cool either. If you like it, then it's cool.
Brilliant way to end. Thank you so much. Right, let's get ready for the selfie. So if there's any props that you want to bring into the selfie.
Oh no, what should I do? I did the violin last time. I can't do the same again.
Or just get your trumpet or anything. Or you look pretty lovely as you are, Aaron, so you don't know.
Oh, stop! That's really sweet. With the teddy bear.
Yeah, that's nice.
I was just like cozy.
Nice. Okay, so we'll count down 3, 2, 1, and you can take it there. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Brilliant. Okay. Look forward to seeing all of those, and we'll share it on the socials. And thank you all so much. That was such a brilliant webinar. You are all brilliant, and I can't wait. And I think, like you were saying, Jonny, that's why one of the joys I love about NCO is bringing amazing people like you to meet our children, because you open doors and you show them what's possible, and you give them steps along the journey of thinking, I could be bigger and better and different, and there's so much joy to be had out there with music. So thank you so much for being so brilliant, and I can't wait to see you at projects. And bye-bye for now.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye.